Hey everyone, Eric here, and today I want to show you how to use SketchUp's Color by Tag feature in order to create a quick pop of color that can accentuate specific parts of your model, thus drawing the viewer's eye to only what you want them to see, and of course, why that's important. So let's just get into it. Okay, here's my SketchUp model. Let's say for this example that I am working, if you're familiar with British Columbia, Vancouver, this is sort of the Olympic Park neighborhood and the Olympic Village, and the Science Center and Rogers Arena, and of course the stadium where FIFA World Cup 2026 is going to play. So for example, let's just say I want to study some of the things that are happening in this zone as a way to sort of provide context for a potential design solution. Now, normally what I would do is probably go into InDesign. This is, I wouldn't say normally, but in the past, I might go into InDesign and say, hey, what are the public transportation elements? I know there's a station over here, so I would create a layer and I would maybe draw using the pen or the pencil tool. And I go in and apply a fill to it. Let me see, let me apply a fill. Find my accent color, whatever color I'm going to use, and click OK, set that to multiply. Okay, a little time consuming, especially if you've got a bunch of elements that you want to call attention to and elements that have maybe a lot of little intricate details. So not to say that's not a viable option. I still do that if needed from time to time, but let's say I want to do this a little bit quicker and I want to leverage what I've got in my model. So that's kind of the point of this video here. Let's go back into SketchUp. We'll be in InDesign in just a minute. So here I've got my existing conditions model. This came from OpenStreetMap information via CAD Mapper. I've got buildings, I've got raised expressways or viaducts, water, maybe some signature buildings separated from the other context buildings, and then roadways and things like that. So if I open up my tags, you'll notice that they're all tagged. Right now I have this set to color by tag, and there's a reason why I'm using color by tag. Now you could say, well, if you just want a black and white model, why don't you just use hidden line? Well, hidden line does a couple of things. Firstly, I've lost my roads because in my hidden lines, I don't want to see my road edges. I want to see a road fill. So that's why I'm using the color by tag, because I can make my roads a different color. So I want to make sure that my materials or my textures are showing, so that I can use my color by tag mode. If I turn that off, you can see it's just kind of a hot mess, and that's okay because I don't really care what this model looks like. For example, if I wanted to color my buildings or my open space green, for whatever, I don't care. I'm actually just going to override those using color by tag. Again, that's intentional because I have this tag here that I've created already. It's called accent. Right now, there's nothing on the accent tag, and that's the point. I'm going to pick different elements in the model, and when I want to accent, or what I want to accent, I will then accentuate them. I've also done another thing here. This is my base aerial, so this is the view that I think would be kind of cool. Obviously, I could, capture it from a different angle if I wanted to, or I could just go straight down if I felt like that was the best for the story. But I think having the angle is nice because it shows, a little bit of building height. So the next thing I have is an accent tag. So an accent, scene. And if I open up my scenes here, don't want to use thumbnails, what you can see is that I have everything turned on, but what I have turned off are all my tags. So the only thing visible in this scene is my accent tag, and that's done intentionally as well. Now, it only took 2 seconds. I could have done this with you, but I preset it up this way. Let's go ahead now and start to assign some of the elements in the model to the accent tag so that we can then get it back in InDesign so I can finish my design diagramming. For example, I know that I've got a tag. If I pop over here, I just kind of picked some things: water, public transit, stadium and civic buildings, special buildings, existing roads, context buildings, and walkability. And walkability is just kind of a walk circle that says how far it takes to walk from here to here. So doesn't really matter the order that we go in. Let's just grab a couple of these things. I'm going to start with the water. So I don't need to do anything. With the accent tag selected as my current tag, which is dark gray, it's like my current active tag, I will click the tag tool and I will just click down on the water. So I'm going to apply accent to my water. Cool, I just re-tagged it. Now, if I click on my accent scene, you can see that everything disappears except my color overlay. Now again, go back and think about how long it would take for me to trace this intricate edge in InDesign. It might take 5 or 6 minutes. I'm just going to screenshot that. I'm going to do a couple more really quick, and then I want to show you how this works in InDesign. I'm screenshotting it for a reason, because if I go up here and I go File, Save As, Export, that takes me too long. And these are going to be thumbnail diagrams. They're going to be small, so they don't need to be high resolution. A screenshot is perfect. It's going to be way faster. So now I come back to my aerial. I've done my water, so I'm going to find my water tag, retag that back, so I'm basically going to reset it. And then I'm going to go accent, and I'm going to tag my signature buildings, like my marquee buildings. So my Science Center and my 2 stadiums, those are pretty significant buildings. Perhaps there's some other ones, but I'm just going to go with those. I'm going to go to accent. Those are going to be there. Now again, depending on how you want to do this, you may want to turn edges off. Now, if you have accent with edges, you're going to get it twice. You're going to get edges twice. So I'm going to create a style here. I didn't do this before, and I'm going to update this. So now all of a sudden you can see here's my base map with edges, and here's my accent color without. I'm going to screenshot that. Screenshot on Mac, Command-Shift-4, screenshot that. Come back to my aerial. I'm going to take those, let's see here, buildings. I'm going to pop those back on their building tags. It's a little annoying that I got to go back and forth. Personally, I would love to if I could create some accent states and save them, but this is a one-off. I think I'm probably okay just doing this as a one-off. Go back to accent. I'm just going to do one more because this is kind of a rinse and repeat method, but process. I know that there was a transit station somewhere. Where did it go? Maybe I accidentally deleted my transit station. That's okay. We've got other things to do. Let's see, how about roadways? So what I'm going to do is come over here and accentuate these viaducts. So if I click accent, tag tool, viaduct, if it doesn't work, that's probably because there's information that information may not be set to untagged. For example, if I got this from a third-party source and you try to use the tag tool and it doesn't change colors, that's telling you that your raw geometry is not untagged. Your raw geometry should always be untagged. So for example, not just raw geometry, you may have some subgroups that may be untagged as well. So for example, if I wanted to do these elevated roadways, I could go in, make sure that everything's untagged, come into accent, grab that, aerial, and then those are elevated roads. I'll put those back where they're supposed to be. And then let's see, let's do one more, existing buildings. So I'm going to find accent tag, tag tool, existing buildings, accent, screenshot, Command-Shift-4. I might do all of them because again, this is so fast. This process is so quick that I can do all 6 diagrams right here live talking to you. But let me just show you what I want to do next, and then before I do any more. So I started with the waterfront. I have here just a SketchUp screen. It's a screenshot. So the same view, just screenshotted without the accent. I'm going to copy this, Command C on Mac, and then I'm going to paste this view in place. So basically I have that sitting on top. I have a view sitting on top. I've duplicated it essentially. Then I'm going to go browse and I'm going to grab the screenshot that has the water. So that should be the first one that I did. And then you can see there it is. Probably switch that to multiply. And now my water, that quick, I'm calling your attention to the water in this particular design strategy. So in this case, I want to do context buildings, copy, paste in place, Command D, and we'll come over to my screenshot for context buildings and set that to multiply. Last thing, let's see here. We did stadiums and civic buildings. Copy that, paste in place, Command D, come over here to my screenshot, find the civic buildings, and then set that to multiply. I already did the walkability one. I was just kind of demoing, practicing as I was doing this before, so I could do that, multiply. Oh, I see what I did. I made a mistake. I'm going to copy this, paste it in place. Now I'm going to do that one more time and set that there. There we go. I need 2 of them, not 1. and set that to multiply. So you can see what happens here. You can see how quick this is. Now, if I wanted to, I could fade the existing context back a little bit. It'll pop the colors even more. So if I really felt like it, I could maybe copy these, pull these back, and I could do this in SketchUp, or since you're already here, we can do this here. And then I can paste those in place. And again, each one of these little diagrams are designed to call your attention to a particular piece of information. For example, the waterfront. Well, what about the waterfront? This is where I might say something like, activate the water's edge by drawing, visitors towards the seawall. I don't know. I'm just making this up. If I had really thought about this, I'd maybe come up with something a little bit better. But in this case here, maybe I want to make that bold. Yeah, see, now we're getting into typography design, which is not the point of this lesson, but basically these design strategies are trying to communicate something. So the combination of the base map with the accent color with a little note, now all of a sudden together tells a more compelling story. So let's grab, since it was so quick, let's grab the roads and let's grab, I don't have my public transportation, but I'm just going to call this one the elevated viaducts. What do I want to say about treating those columns? Maybe how they touch the ground. So aerial, again, it's so easy. I just come over here, I find my existing buildings, retag those. And the last one I wanted to do was my roads. So I could come over here and select, select my roads, make sure that I have my roads. That's my paths. Bring that to accent, paths, accent. Well, maybe I want to do paths. That's kind of cool. And then let's see here. I might have to zoom in just to get these roads and accent. Okay, you get the idea. Come over here to accent, Command Shift 4, screenshot that, pop into InDesign. Where's my roadways? Roadways, copy that, paste it in place, and find that last screenshot with my roadways. Set it to multiply. And there it is. I did do the elevated one. It's going to bug me if I don't feel like I finished this, so I'm going to go ahead and just finish it. Otherwise, it's going to bug me. So my elevated roadways, and then there they are. So just in that one, probably I copied and pasted that, and I set the opacity back. So of course I want to pull those back. So now all of a sudden you can see just how quick this process is. I'm going to leave you there. So think about how you might want to use this process in your own work. I mean, I'm doing it as design strategies, but ultimately this idea of using a pop of color to call your attention to any one specific element within your model, it's literally as easy as color by tag, assign the element to the accent tag, screenshot, and then post. Of course, you can always do more with it. You can do it to a V-Ray rendering. We can go into Photoshop, do some post-processing, but I think you get the idea. So I'm going to pause there for now and say thank you all for watching, and let me know in the comments below. Do you find this kind of stuff useful? Have you ever done something like this? Let me know, and I'd be happy to carry on the conversation with you there. Thanks. See you next time.